This is what I did during E3 last year. That's me. That's my laptop. And I'm sitting in the Madison branch of the Nashville Public Library because it has free Wi-Fi that's surprisingly fast. I always look forward to E3. It's a national holiday as far as I'm concerned. For 3 days I take off from work and I'm glued to my laptop and TV. Like most people who visit this site, I always wanted to go but never had the chance. The year they announced that E3 was closed to the public was the year I died a little. But now, thanks to 1UP, I have a chance. A long shot? Sure. But it's more than I've had before, and I'm willing to work hard for a chance to cover E3. My name is Chris, and this is why I think you should send me to E3 this year. A very close friend of mine recently told me, "You know, Chris, you're not so much a gamer. You're just more someone who loves video games." It's a pretty accurate description. I used to be a hardcore gamer, but as I got older, I began to run out of the same things almost everyone else does: free time and expendable money. But even as those were becoming hard to come by, I've always stayed on top of what was going on in the world of interactive entertainment. Whether it was reading EGM every month from cover to cover or checking out 1UP.com at least 3 times a day for the latest breaking news, I did and still do whatever I can to stay in touch with my inner gamer. In fact, if I spent the time I used to read about video games to actually play them, I would probably have an achievement score to be reckoned with. A typical day for me goes as follows. I wake up around 6 a.m., get myself ready, and drive to a park close to work. There I read the Bible, pray, check my email, check 1UP, and watch either The Daily Show, The Colbert Report, or the Conan monologue from the night before. Next I head to my first job as a minibar attendant at a hotel. Once there, I go from room to room, restocking the coffee, snacks, and minibar. On an average, I check about 100 rooms a day, and as you can imagine, it gets to be a little tedious. How do I get through this? Well, I come armed with an iPod Shuffle loaded with some of the finest podcasts around. P.S. Rest in peace at 1UP Podcast. You were one of my favorites on 1UP or any other site, and you and the Enemies of segment will be missed. Once I'm done there, I head home, change clothes, and head to my second job at The Great Escape, kind of a catch-all store for pop culture enthusiasts. As you can imagine, this is where I can let my geek flag fly. We're constantly talking about movies, music, and of course, games. It's a natural fit for me. And that's why I think you should send me to E3! Well, I guess I should make my case a little better than that. About this time last year, I was asking myself, what would I do if I could go cover E3? What would I want to see? Where would I spend most of my time? Who would I want to meet and talk to? Of course, you have to start with the big 3 press conferences. Let's start with Microsoft. Maybe it's because I don't own a 360, so I don't keep up with what's going on with them as much, but it seems like there's more of an air of mystery around Microsoft this year. When it comes to games, they've been knocking E3 out of the park, and this year looks to be no different. As for Connect, let's hope their offerings are more for their core audience and less for the Skittles crowd. Skipping over to Sony, we know we'll get our first look at the NGP. For what we already know, it looks to be a powerful handheld. It'll be nice to see it in action and maybe get a release date and price point. As far as games go, we might get a look at some of the games that were only mentioned at last year's E3. Also, where is The Last Guardian, damn it? But what I'm most interested to see from Sony is how they'll handle the PlayStation Network shutdown. Even if it's all fixed by the time this is posted, it will have been down for over 3 weeks, and that has left some games virtually unplayable. The PS3 audience is beginning to cross their arms. It's hard to believe they won't address this at all. And then there's Nintendo. To be honest, I am a Nintendo fanboy. I love that while the other guys were going in one direction, Nintendo decided to go another, and now Sony and Microsoft are following suit. But what will they bring to E3? There's Zelda and 3DS news, but outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot to get excited about. Until...
Oh my god!
What is it?
Trampoline! Trampoline!
Oh yeah. So there's the big three. Everyone will be covering them and everyone will be watching them. But what about the games not mentioned at the main press events? If chosen, this is what I'd want to blog about. Of course I would want to see the big boys, but E3 is a huge event with so much to see. I'd want to see as much as possible. The AAA games are safe. What about the A games or even the B games? They can be just as fun. What about the crazy peripherals? What about the swag? What about the people of E3? What about the food? In some ways, I feel like I've been training for this moment since last year's E3. It may be premature, but I'm training for it even as you watch this video. Because if you want to go to the Olympics, you better practice before you try out. But more on that later. So I'm getting ready. I'm laying out my game plan, checking my cameras, making space on my laptop. And if I'm chosen, I will work my butt off for you and love it one up. And that's why you should send me to E3. Plus, if you send me, it will make me about the coolest uncle to my niece and nephews.